Warning, this review features cursing and gigantic spoilers of the movie. Watch this movie before you watch this review, please. Okay, bye. So, the FNAF movie released. And what better way to celebrate than to absolutely shit on it? It's still good, trust me. So yeah, this movie has been in the works for about like 7 years, if you want to count the rumors back in 2016 in like gaming news articles. So did it live up to the expectations? I would say mostly. Not exactly. There are a few complaints, a lot of complaints that I have. Most of them are little minor nitpicks and stuff that I should have expected going into it, but I may have put in my hopes way too high for it. But there's still quite a lot of good, but a little bit, well, a lot of not so good stuff. But rather than just going for what I found good and what I found bad and what I found really fucking bad, I'd rather just go through all the parts of the movie individually, starting with the characters. Now, there are quite a few characters in this movie, and there's a lot of things to say about them. Let's start with the first one. Not even 2 minutes in, I already used the same transition twice. Michael, my boy, the main character, the main boy of the whole film. I find it quite interesting that he, out of all characters from the FNAF games, he is the main character of the FNAF movie, considering the fact you don't really fucking see him in the games. You play as him in like the first two, allegedly, according to the games themselves. People theorize they actually play as Michael Afton, a very separate character that doesn't show up in the movie. But in the games, it does technically state that you play as Mike Schmidt, which is, the fucking character in the movie. And I find Mike's character quite interesting in this film, and his whole setup of why he goes to spend 5 nights at Freddy's. Get it? It's like the title of the movie in the game. It's real funny, trust me. Now, his setup for his character and why he goes to the job is that a long time ago, when he was younger, he lost his younger brother Garrett to this random ass kidnapper. He was camping with his family in like a random ass forest, and constantly throughout the movie, he goes through these dream sequences. Like every night, he goes to the same dream where it's just reliving that memory of him losing his brother Garrett. Now, I don't know if this is a recent thing that he has been dreaming this every night, or it has been dreaming ever since he lost Garrett, which having the same dream for, say, about like 15 years, that can really fuck you up, man. Anyways, right now in the modern day, he has a younger sister named Abby, who will, again, as I said before, we'll get into later. And right now he's just a hardworking, very tired, unemployed, uneducated, stupid guy older brother trying his hardest to just keep his little sister and just kind of be stable in his life. And he does go through some character development over the movie. From the first half of the movie, he's kind of a dick to his little sister. If you've seen the movie, you remember this one scene where he tells Abby to eat her food, which she isn't because she'd rather just spend her entire day drawing. And he states that he makes up this excuse of like, oh, if you don't eat, you won't get bigger, and you won't be able to ride the toll rides in the amusement park. And then Abby's like, my friend says you're an idiot. And then Mike comes up with the biggest roast he could ever come up with. It's like, well, at least my fucking self is real. And he's like, God damn, bro, you just roasting the shit out of your lonely ass little sister. You feel bad about yourself? You do? Oh, okay. But by the end of the movie, he does learn to become a better older brother and to, actually focus on trying to get her some friends rather than just spend his entire life just worrying about himself and his job and reliving the same dreams of his younger brother Garrett being kidnapped. And I would talk about Garrett. The only problem is that he's not really like a character because he doesn't say jack shit in the entire movie, not even the Dream Princess. He doesn't say anything. But I will talk about the sister that is alive, which is. Now, one of the problems that does exist in the FNAF movie is the characters. Not all of them are bad, but some of them are pretty bad, and some of them are just kind of okay. And the first okay character would be Abby. Now, the thing about Abby is that I don't really understand her. Like, why does she not talk to anyone in her school in the beginning of the movie? And why does she start talking to people after the movie, when the movie ends? What did the traumatic experience of killer animatronics really change her mind that much to become much more of a social person? And other than that, is that Abby seems not really much like a character. She seems more like a plot device than a character. Like, she just seems like a reason of why Mike needs to go do the job. And he seems like more like a device for then Mike can talk to the animatronics, which we'll get into later. And another problem that rears its head with Abby is weird line delivery with a lot of the actors. And I don't blame Abby for being a bad actor. I mean, she is a child. Most child actors are not great. For most child actors, she actually is pretty good. I don't know the name of the actor on the top of my head, but she does all right. Is that some lines are just delivered really weird, and that goes to almost all of the cast in the movie. And before we get to our next character, I want to point out that in one scene, and after that scene, for the rest of the movie onwards, she dresses up kind of like Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus, and I find that kind of funny. Steve Raglan, aka William Afton, aka Springtrap, aka Purple Guy, except he actually doesn't wear purple in this movie, but whatever. Now, if you know the tiniest sliver of FNAF lore, you would know that William Afton, aka Springtrap, is the main bad guy of the entire plot for, the most of it until, the most recent games. And, I'm gonna be completely honest, he did not feel that way to me, at all. It might be also because of, the actor's, portrayal of the character, but he does not seem that much of a threat, not even, in the final act when he actually becomes Springtrap and stuff. He doesn't really seem that threatening at all. I understand that in the first half, when the first act where he's just giving the facade of Steve Raglan, he's not supposed to be threatening because that would give it away that he's Steve Raglan, that he's William Afton, even though it's completely fucking obvious by the beginning. Even if I wasn't a FNAF fan and I didn't know that, it would be completely obvious that he would be a twist villain. But anyways, he just did not seem threatening to me at all. Maybe it's because of the portrayal of the character and the line delivery. One of his lines "Children, wake up! I got a new toy for you to play with." What the fuck? Why does he talk like that? That is not William Afton. When I think of William Afton, I think
"Children, wake up! I have a new toy for you to play with."
Like that, more threatening, more mean, more dark, not "Ooh!" What the fuck is that, man? You made him cartoony. Another thing I find weird is that he just kind of disappears. After the first half where he gives Michael Mike, I guess. He's specifically Mike. No one calls him Michael in the movie. I don't know why. When he gives Mike the job, after that, he just kind of fucking disappears until the final act where he shows up as Springtrap or Spring Bonnie or whatever. He just does not appear. He doesn't talk. No phone calls. No, text messages. Nothing. He's just gone. Now, William, he is not the only Afton in this movie. He actually has a daughter, and, Mike's daughter. Wait, no, not Mike. No, fuck. God damn it. Vanessa. There, I have a lot of things to say about Vanessa. She is, by far, my least favorite part of this entire movie, whether it be plot, visuals, audio, anything. Her character, oh my goddamn god. And the worst part is, she's not even a character. She's pretty much just meant for exposition and for giving the Mike and Abby some leeway into making the final act easier for them. She does not have a personality, barely any personality, and she is so goddamn stupid. She is the daughter of William Afton, aka Springtrap, the fucking murderer, the main guy. And she knew, when she was a kid, she knew that her dad was a goddamn murderer. Yes, she does not do anything. She does not go to the police. She does not go to, the law or any shape or form. And when he talks to Mike, she does not, try to warn him that either, I don't know, the fucking ghost children are possessing giant animatronic robots and they want to kill you. Or, my dad, he's the murderer who murdered those 5 children and also murdered your brother. She knew that since the beginning, yet she has done absolutely nothing to save that. I genuinely do not understand what was going through the writers' minds. Like, what were they thinking?
Hey man, do you think we should make Vanessa have a character other than just plot convenience and exposition?
Nah.
The aunt, or I guess if you want to call it the aunt. I'm calling her. I'm just calling the aunt or aunt because she does not have a name as far as I remember. And if she does, then I guess it kind of sucks that I don't remember her name. Because, again, kind of like Vanessa and Abby, she's not really a character. She just serves like a plot device as another reason of why Mike needs to get the job at Five Nights at at Freddy's Pizzeria. Like her motive is that she wants to take custody of Abby for herself rather than Mike, because if she does, she will get like a monthly paycheck from the government, even though that monthly paycheck from the government is not really going to be that big because it's the government, and two, she already seems like well off financially. Like, how much money are they paying her to the point where she will go out of her way to sabotage Mike's job just so she can get custody of Abby? Like, she clearly does not really care about Abby, like, at all in the movie. Also, if she does not have a name, I find it hilarious that her lawyer, Doug, does. Doug, the character, that, again, says very little in the movie, I think he has, like, one line, has a name, but the actual aunt, who has multiple lines and multiple scenes and has some plot relevance, does not have a name. Which is hilarious to me. Now, while Mike is at the job, someone needs to take care of Abby while she's at home. And who better to get than a babysitter? And that babysitter would be Max. But Max is not alone. She also has an older brother and two friends, which I'm not entirely sure if it's Max's friends or just her brother's friends. I'm not entirely sure. But it doesn't matter. She also works with the stupid-ass Disney Channel The Evil Aunt, because if Max foils Mike's job and the aunt gets custody of Abby, the aunt will pay Max $1,000, so I guess she is poor as well. Now, Max and the gang are also kind of pointless characters. Their only purpose in the movie is to just be like meat bags to add to the kill count, so then the movie actually has like a kill count, so then people die, so it makes it seem more like a horror movie rather than just like a cheap filler for children. And I find it kind of weird that the movie kind of disrespects Max a lot. In the scenes where she works for the evil aunt, because the evil aunt pays Max for then she can Max and the gang to go to the pizzeria while Mike is not there, so that they can like destroy everything and make it seem like someone broke in, because that will foil Mike's job, because his entire job is, a security guard. Now, I say that the movie disrespects Max because after the scene of the agreement of Max and the gang destroying the pizzeria for then the aunt takes custody of Abby, the movie really just signs like her, like pushes her to the side and brings Max's older brother into the spotlight instead. Like, it just starts focusing on him instead. And it also disrespects her because she gets killed in the most brutal way out of the entire movie, and she gets like the coolest death, I guess you could say. And now you may be wondering, how does she die? Who killed her? I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious. And here we are! Freddy and the gang. We got Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and Chica's Cupcake, and also Golden Freddy. The main attractions of the movie. They were in every single poster, they were in the headlines, they were in the trailers. They are obvious. It's what they're named after. It's what the movie's named after. Five Nights at Freddy's. That being said, their inclusion in the movie is really weird. It's not what I expected at all. I'm not saying that it was bad. I'm just saying it's not really what I thought would happen. Now, one thing I will say that was bad is that they don't speak. They don't say a word. Garrett might have said one line, and that would still be more than Freddy and the gang. Like, all the robots don't say anything, which is weird considering that in the games, at least some of the games, they do talk. Like in the phone game, which is the worst FNAF game by far. In the phone game, Freddy and Foxy have voice lines. They talk. They have a voice, and it's like for some reason in the movie they don't say anything. Another thing I found very weird about them was their visual effects. Now, I think that I really, really liked about this movie, and what I think that most people really liked about the movie, even people that didn't like the movie, found this thing like the best part of the movie was their visual effects. Because in the movie, those animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, they are real. They're like actually there. They are not CGI. The set production went out of their way to make actual suits and working like mechanical parts, like their eyes are moving like in real life. It's not computer generated at all. That being said, I find their like movement and quality of said movement to be very inconsistent. Cause like in some shots, like this one with like the ghost child transforming into Foxy, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. But then at other times, even with also Foxy, like with these legs moving, they don't move. They don't move. He just walks forward. He just goes like whoa, like that. He does not move, which is I find it really weird and just look really cheesy at the time. And also for some, they do like from camera trickery, so like for like some of the characters don't have to move as much. Like this shot with the cupcake, it's on the ground laying down. And then the lampshade like goes away, and then the light comes back, and he's just standing up, so they don't have to like animate it or make it stand up on its own. They just get you to like which I find kind of whatever. It's kind of lame, but I get it. But other than that, like the visual effects are either really, really good or really, really weird. And two animatronics that I want to talk about more specifically, rather than just Freddy and the gang, would be Chica's Cupcake and Golden Freddy. Now, Chica's Cupcake, I find very interesting in the movie, because, like, first of all, who is possessing the cupcake? There are 5 ghost children. One possesses Freddy, one possesses Bonnie, one possesses Chica, and one possesses Foxy, and one turns into Golden Freddy. But who the hell controls the cupcake? And secondly, why is the cupcake so damn powerful? Like, the cupcake, Chica does not get a kill in the movie. Instead, the cupcake does. The cupcake has, like, sharp teeth for some reason, and, like, just mauls, like, a dude's face. Like, you see, like, the aftermath of, like, all the people dying, of the Max and the gang dying to the animatronics. His face is, like, gone. And then at other times, it starts, like, chewing on Mike's foot, and is like really getting him. It's like slowing him down. He goes on the ground, and the only way to stop him is by like kicking it and like tasering it. Like that's the only way to stop the cupcake. And even that, it comes back up. Like why is the cupcake so damn strong? And like the cupcake sets off the spring lock failure scene. Like out of all the things, it's the cupcake that does it. Why is the cupcake so damn strong? And who the hell is controlling it? And then there is Golden Freddy. I guess you could consider Golden Freddy to be like a secondary antagonist to the movie. Because he tries to convince Mike to give up Abby and let her die. That way Mike can have the same dream over and over again. But this time, instead of watching Garrett get kidnapped, he just spends time with Garrett. Like, Garrett is like actually there. And he's kind of like... And Golden Freddy's kind of like the secondary villain. What's weird about Golden Freddy is that he just kind of turns into a ghost and like turns into a robot, or he's always a robot and sometimes just appears as a ghost. Like I'm not sure, because like the Golden Freddy kills the aunt, or like the aunt, this is the villain, evil aunt, and like I guess it's kind of implied that it's a robot, and also Golden Freddy gets in a taxi as a robot. Like people like actually see him as a robot, but like then he also kind of appears as a ghost child in real life, like in like the final shot of the movie, William Afton sees Golden Freddy, but he does not see the robot. He sees the child. Also, Abby sees the child rather than the robot. Like it's weirdly inconsistent. Now I want to talk about the other characters, quote unquote, that aren't really characters, but they are things in the movie that I want to talk about. I think I broke something. And those two groups of characters that I want to talk about that aren't really characters are the three random ass like Easter egg ish characters and the two YouTuber cameos. Now, the three animatronic ish, Easter egg ish characters that I want to talk about are Balloon Boy, Sparky, and Enna. Now, Balloon Boy does not appear as a robot. It appears rather as a figurine. Now, it's supposed the purpose of Balloon Boy's figurine is to work as like it just works as it's a jump scare and like a running gag. Like it shows up once in the first night, it shows up in like the third night, and then it shows up in the after credit scene, which also shows. And the other animatronic Easter eggs are Sparky and Enna. Now, Sparky is a really weird inclusion because Sparky is not really a thing in FNAF. It does not show up in the games because Sparky was a fake hoax from the first Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, a hoax is like a fake like rumor that just like people just put on the internet to try and fool people. And Sparky was a rumor character. It was a hoax. He is not real. A person just make like a fake animatronic and like put it in like in a screenshot of FNAF and was like, oh my god, there's a secret robot dog character in this. But he was not real. And for some reason, he is in the movie. Now, he's not really in the movie, but you see a dog suit, animatronic suit, that is not used. Like just animatronic parts, but it looks exactly like Sparky. And also, there's like a restaurant scene where like some of the characters go in a restaurant, and the restaurant is named Sparky. And I found that to be really cool, but also like really weird, because that has some weird ass implications on the lore, and which we'll talk about very later. And the other animatronic Easter egg character would be Enna. Now, Enna is a real character. It's not a hoax like Sparky. Enna does not show up in the games like Sparky, but she does show up in the books. She shows up in 2 book series. She shows up in the 3-part novel series and the Fazbear Frights series. Now, the 3-part novel series is, well, a 3-part novel series that has it takes place in a different timeline from the games, because there's characters that are in the books but not in the games, and characters that are in the games but not in the books. And Enna is one of those characters. She doesn't actually do anything in the books. She just shows up. It's just like a little animatronic doll, and in the books, Fazbear Frights, with like an anthology series, kind of like Goosebumps in a way. One of the stories is based after like her, who instead of this time of being like a doll, she's like an alarm clock for some reason. And similar to Sparky in the movie, Enna does not move. It's just like broken animatronic body parts. But she almost is used as a suit for Abby when they're about to like kill her and her ghost will possess Enna, which again has some weird ass implications with the lore. Now next I want to talk about the YouTuber cameos. With the first one being MatPat, aka the Game Theorist, which was a very fun cameo. It was obvious that he if you were gonna put a YouTuber cameo, it had to be MatPat. Like, he is very engraved into the Five Nights at Freddy's community with like all like 70 plus theories that he made on the damn series. Like, he just shows up once. I mean, it's a cameo, that's what they do. But like, it was a very fun cameo. Now, unfortunately, before watching the movie, I was spoiled of it, and with like YouTube thumbnails, which kind of took away a lot of the surprise. But when I actually saw it in the theater, when he showed up, a bunch of like people in the crowd was like, "Oh, yo, dude, it's fucking MatPat!" And I found that very fun. And the other YouTube cameo was Corey Kenshin. Now, I do not watch Corey Kenshin, but I do know who he is. Corey Kenshin is a Let's Player. He just like plays games and screams a lot, and he does a lot of FNAF videos. So that's why he was included in the movie as the taxi driver. And he also shows up for the after credit scene, which is pretty fun. Now, but there are 2 cameos, or 1 cameo and 1 lack thereof of cameo, which do kind of suck, but I somewhat understand. The first one is that Markiplier, another Let's Player who is more related to FNAF than Corey Kenshin is, did not show up in the movie. Now, this is not the movie's fault. This is because Markiplier at this time was also working on his own movie, Iron Lung, so his scheduling did not allow him to be in the film. But there is this cameo that does exist in the movie, but it kind of pisses me off, and that is Daco and 8-Bit Ryan. Now, I do not mind that they're included. What I do mind is that they weren't included more, because like they don't actually show up in the movie as characters. They are just a picture on the wall as like a little employee of the month pictures, which is a very cute, very cute. I like that a lot. But if you saw the movie, you would have no idea that they were there, because they don't show that picture at all. Like it is there for like 2 frames, and I'm pissed off about that because I actually really like Dawko, and he is like very FNAF centered. He's like most like 90% of his YouTube channel is Five Nights at Freddy's. Like Game Theory does a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's video. Markiplier and Corey Kenshin's out on a lot of my Five Nights at Freddy's videos. But a lot of their other videos are not Five Nights at Freddy's related. Like their FNAF content is like say like 30% of their content at most. Meanwhile, Dawko has like 90% of his content is FNAF. Now, I understand that Dawko lives in London and they filmed this movie somewhere else, but I'm not saying that they should have put Dawko like in the movie and he should have been there in the set. I'm saying more so that at least you could have like done a little scene where Mike just looks at the picture of Employee of the Month. It like shows Dawko and 8-Bit Ryan, who's another YouTuber. They show that picture for like a little bit, and then Mike was like, huh, and like he just chuckles. They could have done at least that, but they didn't, and it kind of pisses me off. Okay, that was all the characters. Man, did I have a lot to say about it. That almost took like an hour and a half to talk about. But now I want to talk about the other thing that I want to talk about. Well, the other thing you could really talk about, which is the plot / the lore, which is probably the thing that people mostly did not like about the FNAF movie, including FNAF fans and non-FNAF fans, because the lore and plot is kind of iffy. Now, I say plot and lore separately because the plot, I'm talking about the movie itself. The lore, I'm talking about the FNAF franchise, the FNAF franchise as a whole, including that movie alongside the games and the books. Because I guess the movie is its own separate timeline rather than a retelling of the games. Which to the non-FNAF fan, that doesn't really matter. You just watch the movie just because you want to. If you're not a FNAF fan, then you probably don't know a lot about the lore, so you just watch the movie. But a FNAF man, like me, who knows a lot about the lore, it can be very confused with the movie, because they change a lot of things. Like Vanessa, you know the character Vanessa? Yeah, in the movie, she's a cop, and the daughter of William Afton. And she shows up for like the Freddy's Pizzeria location with the original 4 animatronics. In the games, she shows up like way later in the game. She's like a very brand new character for the games. She shows up in like the Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex in Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Not only that, she is not related to William Afton. She's just a random ass girl, and she is actually a villain in that game. She is a bad guy. Well, not really a bad guy. She's brainwashed by like a digital virus in the games, and that makes her a bad guy. But you know, technically speaking, she is a good guy who's just possessed. But the fucking weird mix-up of Vanessa being a random-ass character and a bad guy-ish in the games to being related to William Afton and a good guy in the movie just makes stuff really confusing. Which makes it even worse because in the games, William Afton not only does not have Vanessa as a daughter, but he actually has 3 separate children. He has Michael Afton, not Mike Afton, Michael Afton. So then I guess you won't confuse it with Mike Schmidt. And also Elizabeth Afton and Crying Child, who we still do not have a name with. We just know him as Crying Child, which is hilarious because he was introduced in like 2014 and we still don't have a name for him. And for Michael Afton, it's weirder especially because in the lore of the games, Mike Schmidt doesn't really exist. It is just Michael Afton going by like a separate name so then he can get a job. Because if he goes as Michael Afton, people will know that he's the son of William Afton and won't give him the job. So he changes his name to Mike Schmidt in the games. So because Mike Schmidt, like the character from the movie Mike Schmidt, does not exist in the games as far as we can tell. In the games, Mike Schmidt is just Michael Afton under a different name, which is Again, very confusing for the lore. And another thing that is really confusing about the lore is in the FNAF movie, there are a lot of dream sequences, and the ghost children possessing the animatronics show up in the dream sequences and hurt Mike Schmidt in those dream sequences, and he actually gets hurt, like in one of the dream sequences. God, fucking the dream sequences over and over and over again. In one of those dreams, like one of the animatronics like hurts Mike and like slashes his arm, and in real life, like not in the real one, but in the actual world, he does get actually harmed. Their injury is still there, and they do it again later. He gets like a bunch of like slashes across like his body by a bunch of like the ghost children, but in real life he is still harmed by them, which is weird because that was a goddamn dream by ghost children. In the games and the books, there was never any like dream sequences. There was never anything about dreams and ghosts showing up in the dreams, and the ghosts can affect things in the dreams that affect real life. That was never a thing. So the fact that it's in the movie, and they do it so many goddamn times, there were so many dream sequences, and they get really annoying like later in, because he just goes over and over the same dream over and over and over again. It gets really annoying, and it's like really weird because it just fucks up more of the lore because it was a brand new thing introduced that was never a part of the games. But now we're talking about the plot of just the movie itself. Now, the movie itself has really weird tone shifts that like they're really weird because like in the scene where Max and the gang go break into the pizzeria and destroy everything, it like starts being like, oh, silly and stuff. Like, oh, like the first two people that die, and it's kind of supposed to be kind of like lighthearted, like kind of like jokey because they die in like silly ways, and like one of the characters who's like this big buff guy starts screaming like a little girl. So like, yeah, it's kind of supposed to be funny. But then Max's death is taken like really seriously, and it's actually kind of scary over a little bit. It's like really brutal. So it's just like really weird that it goes like from very silly to like very serious and kind of bloody. It's like the bloodiest part of the movie. It is just really weird that it just goes one after another. Another tone shift, which also really pisses me off. Like the first tone shift with the Max and the gang is weird, but doesn't like piss me off. The other one does piss me off because guess what? It involves Vanessa. So in one scene, when Mike finds out that the animatronics are possessed by the animatronics, by the ghost children, Abby is there and Vanessa is there, and Mike finds this out while Abby and Vanessa Abby also kind of finds out, but Vanessa already knew. And there's a scene where they start building like a little pillow fort with the animatronics. And quick side note, a lot of people really hated that scene because they felt it was childish. Like, oh, these are supposed to be like very scary, like they're the villains of the movie, and they're just like building a goddamn pillow fort. Well, yeah, no shit, dumbass. They're animatronics possessed by children. Obviously, they're gonna act like children and do things that children do. But that is another note. That is not the tone shift. The tone shift is what happens immediately after, because during the montage of the building the pillow fort scene, Abby touches Bonnie's guitar, which is kind of malfunctioning, so she gets kind of electrocuted and kind of burned by it. And then Vanessa gets really serious and gets really fucking pissed off at Mike for bringing Abby, even though like 30 seconds ago they were like having so much fun. It's like, yeah, like Vanessa's like, yeah, Abby, we're having so much fun. I'm so glad that you're here. But then immediately after, it's like, Mike, you should not have brought Abby here. If you bring Abby here again, I will shoot you. Also, why did she say shoot you? Why can't you say kill you? Like, kill you sounds way more like a threat and sounds way better. Why shoot you? Shoot you just sounds kind of weird. Again, weird-ass lines, weird-ass line delivery. Goddamn Vanessa, man. I swear to God, these tone shifts are so damn wild it can give you whiplash. Ah! Now, the last plot part that I want to talk about is the Springlock scene. Now, as a FNAF fan, the Springlock scene is a very important and iconic part of the FNAF lore. And for those of you who don't know, who haven't seen the movie, which is why you're watching this review, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend that you watch the movie before this review. I'm saying this like half an hour into the review or whatever. The Springlock scene is when William Afton, the main bad guy, gets attacked by the ghost children. And he goes inside the Spring Bonnie suit. But then the Spring Bonnie suit malfunctions because, like, the Spring Lock suits, the thing is that they were meant to be used by both humans and robots, but for the robots, they use, like, these spring locks that latch onto the animatronic part so they don't fall off. But if they're set off while a human is inside, it starts, like cleaving into, like, your stomach and your arms and your legs and your head. It's just keeps, like, stabbing you deep inside your body. It's, like, really painful and supposed to kill you. Now, that is a very iconic scene from the games, but the thing is that in the games, it is not, like, actually shown. It is shown with, like, 8-bit graphics, because obviously back in the day, Scott Cawthon didn't really have the budget to do, like, high budget animations with a bunch of gore and stuff. So I was and the Springlock scene is in the movie, and I was really, as a FNAF man, to finally be able to see it in action, like in live action, with a huge budget, and actually see it and hear it and all that stuff. It was really fucking disappointing, man. That Springlock scene kind of sucked ass. It was, oh man, there is just not enough. It is just not enough in general. Matthew Lillard, aka the actor for William Afton, he does not scream at all. It's like he doesn't feel pain. Because, like, it starts, like, it stabs you in the body. It stabs you everywhere in the body and it's supposed to kill you. You would think he would scream and go like, ah! He does not. He just stands there like, ooh, oh, oh. Like he's a goddamn cartoon villain. Like, oh my god, man. Oh, it put a sour-ass taste in my mouth when I saw that scene for the first time, man. I get it's PG-13. It's supposed to be, like, for a younger audience, but you could at least, like, screamed, man. If you can cut a girl in half, you can make a guy scream. Now at this point, you might be thinking, Jesus Christ, Guy in a Hoodie, you really fucking hate this movie, huh? But I don't. I like I said before, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it is great. Even if you're a FNAF fan, you're gonna love this. If you're not a FNAF fan, you're still gonna at least have some ironic enjoyment from, like, the silliness and, like, the weird tone shifts and all that stuff. And there are some stuff that are actually really good, like Mike Schmidt's actor performance, who's also in the Hunger Games, I guess. Everyone keeps talking about that. His performance is actually really good, and it makes his character more intriguing otherwise. Whatever. And also the soundtrack. Oh my god! The Five Nights at Freddy's the Five Nights at Freddy's series in general. You may shit on it, whatever you want, but you cannot complain or argue against me that the music is garbage. The music is one of the best parts of the entire franchise. The music in all the games are so good, and this movie does not miss. Specifically, the intro song of Five Nights at Freddy's, it's just called Five Nights at Freddy's, and also the Yellow Rabbit is so damn good. And also the credits. When the credits started to roll, my jaw dropped. Yeah, alright, that was a pretty good adaptation. So yeah, in conclusion, it was very good, highly recommended. I hope you didn't see it before this review, otherwise it's pretty much just spoiled the entire movie. But other than that, it was pretty good. And I will see you eventually. Special thank you to Luke and Jack for doing the voices for those two writers in that quick cut gag. Thank you again. Bye.